Hello, good morning everybody. It's all about non-player characters, how to make them interesting, and heck, this is the Game Master preparation. This is a work day, so as many of you know, when I run this, I do a presentation and then we go into building or making something. I'll be putting up a poll today, like I always do. Feel free to take part in that. Grab yourself some food, some drink, make sure you're comfortable. I have some things I want to share, something a little bit different, and we'll see how you respond to this information. And anyway, thank you for being here, Fred Hubber. Glad to see you in the chat. Let's get started. Let's get into the topic. Okay. All right. So for those of you who have never been here before, I do a slideshow followed by we make something. Okay, we make something. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Weller and today I want to talk about role-playing games. This is Game Master preparation. This is the work day. This is the information you need to help you get what you need done. So this is lesson 2, building non-player characters or NPCs. Now I usually have an overview that I cover. I will be covering something a little bit different that I haven't covered before. So quick non-player characters, we'll be looking at how to do that very quickly. We'll also be talking at the very beginning of this, and it's not on the schedule. We'll be talking about how to make your non-player character or NPC interesting for your players. Not so much for you, but the people at the table who are going to be interacting with that NPC or non-player character. Building non-player characters, making your NPC name, creating NPC motivations, the aspects, developing the aspects around your NPC, selecting NPC appearance or coming up with those ideas, constructing a non-player character stat block for whatever system you're using, and then some miscellaneous recommendations. This is usually how I run this program. Okay, so the objectives is to explain how to build a non-player character for your role-playing game, demonstrate that process to a certain degree, and get you some practice in that process. So we're going to be doing at the end of this presentation, we'll be looking at motivations. We'll be looking at a series of different motivations that you can use. I thought that was the best way to sort of approach this. In any case, before I go straight into let's talk about everything else, what I thought I would do is go over the quick non-player character building process for those of you who need that. And then I would talk about, very quickly, I would talk about how to make your non-player characters interesting for your players. This is kind of like one of those things where, how do you make that work? How is it going to actually affect your game in some way and be positive? Okay, so now the easiest way to craft or make a non-player character very quickly is to get someone else to make it for you. It's quite obvious. Now the Game Master's book of non-player characters has hundreds of pages worth of ready-made NPCs. Now this is not just stat blocks. In fact, there's very few stat blocks. It's actually the narrative aspect of those characters that you might need. But it also has tables if you need to use them as well. The Pathfinder's NPC Codex is full of pre-made non-player characters. Now if you don't have access to these, then fine. We're going to give you a few other things. Any published adventure that you have purchased will have heaps of non-player characters that you can be stolen, borrowed, or repurposed for your use. The internet is full of NPC generators that actually make a non-player character for you. And you just press a button and in a couple of seconds you have what you need. Now there is a website called the NPC generator that will allow you to do that. So that's very quick, okay? A couple of seconds and it's done. Now the Game Master's book of random encounters also has a percentile table for very quickly randomly generating a non-player character if you want to. And then lastly, I would say any kind of book that has campaign information in it will often have NPCs related to that campaign as well. So that is the quickest way to do it. It's like you go and find something somebody else has made. Now before we go into that, I want to talk about how to make a NPC interesting. It's one of those things that if you look on the internet and YouTube, everybody's got a reason and a way of doing it. So I'm going to say right now, when it comes to trying to create an interesting non-player character, everybody assumes that the way to do that is to, one, make them really weird and strange, or make them realistic, because, if you make it realistic, it must be better. The only way to actually get them to be really interested is make them just, very unique, very unique. They're really interested. You make an NPC that's not an ass to their characters and actually likes them, and they like them. But all those things, it's not actually the character name or the way you build your non-player character or NPC that makes an NPC interesting. It's what you do as the game master with the NPC. So your interaction with whatever NPC you have selected, okay, whatever NPC you select, and your interaction with the other players at the table, that's what will sell and make your NPC interesting. Now, whether that means you make a silly voice, or you use an accent, or you just role play the character as best you can and get them invested, okay, that's it. It's your interaction. So you've got to speak. You've got to use your NPC and have them say something that will capture the interest of the player characters. At least one of them at the table. Not all of them, but at least one. Okay. There's no guarantee it's going to work. This is the other thing. There is no absolute system for ensuring that every single NPC that you have built and interact with or use or roleplay, that the players will like, because every group of players is different. Some players will just kill them. Some players will just not be interested. Some players just want to get on with the main quest. So you can't be guaranteed to get what you want out of this. But the thing you really want to focus in on, out of everything else, the thing you really want to focus in is how you role play that character and how you interact with the players at the table. That's the thing you want to focus on. Okay, let's get into the actual process of building an NPC or a non-player character. Well, let's start off with the name, because the name is very important. It's our starting point in many respects. And yes, so NPC names. How do we come up with this? The non-player character name is probably the most important step, which you can do this electronically. You don't have to actually make them up yourself. You could go onto a website called Fantasy Name Generator and press a few buttons, and it has thousands, hundreds of thousands of names on there, and it will give you some names that you could use. You could use Don John, the website. It has a fantasy name generator as well for your NPCs. The Game Master, the Master of the Game website also has a name generator under the Resources tab. If you go to the Maker's Forge game website, you'll find it has a name generator in the Generators section on that website. There's nothing wrong with using a standard name that you know of, that you've actually, somebody you know or you've met. Just use a standard name. They could be called Ben. They could be called Tim. It's fine. You can use exotic names of people that you've come across or met before. So repurposing some of your own personal experience and the people you've met, using their names. You're not giving them a hard time. You're not trying to demean them in any way by using their name in your role-playing game. It's just a name. It's not difficult to make up a list of non-player character names that you can use later. So when you do this, when you start making up these names, don't throw the names away that you didn't like. Keep that list, because you might want to reuse them later on. All your rejects can be used at some point. Using the sample names offered in a role-playing game handbook is really a good idea, because often under the race section or species section, they'll have a list of sample names that relate to that species or race. And Dungeons & Dragons players' handbooks tend to do this quite a lot. If you look at pop culture, names from books, comics, and movies can be used. Sly Flourish has a random name generator list. It's not a generator, it's really just a list of names that he's shared in an article on the internet that you can use yourself if you wanted to. And freely available, you don't have to pay a thing. Non-player character motivation. Probably the next most important thing that you need to develop. The motivation of any non-player character is vital for portraying and interacting with the player's characters. So if you're going to build anything on your non-player character, giving them a name and them a motivation is probably more important than most other things. That's why I'm putting it in this order. That's why we went name and then motivation. So pull a simple motivation from real life that you think will fit the NPC. That's your starting point. I mean, you can change that when you need to, but that's really a good starting point. Motivation tables for villains and NPCs can also be found in most Game Master Guide books for any role-playing game. There's usually going to be a guide for your role-playing system, and they'll have a whole lot of motivation tables or things that they're interested or want. Now, the Game Master's Book of Random Encounters has a table on page 239 to 244, which gives you non-player characters. It's a 100 table. It has objectives and motivations for NPCs. The Game Master's Book of Non-Player Characters, not the random one, but the non-player characters one, has random tables for this scattered right throughout the entire thing, if you needed a motivation for your NPC. So these are the things they want and need. And then finally, I'm going to recommend the Pathfinder Game Mastery Guide on page 94. Has a long list of non-player characters that you could use. There are in fact websites that do give you a lot more information. If you want this sort of thing, you'll find you can find it free. If you type in NPC motivation, you'll probably find there's a website that's made something like this. It'll pop up. Okay, so that's our motivation. Now, when we come to motivations with your NPC, you probably want to have a motivation with regard to the wider world and a motivation related to how they will interact with the NPCs. Not always. You don't always have to give an NPC two motivations, a wider world one and one related to the PC and the player's characters, but you can. Okay, next, non-player character aspects. This is sort of the nuts and bolts. These are all the complicated little details that the NPC has. So the depth of a non-player character is created by giving them a function. This could be an occupation, but it might be just a function within the story or adventure. Their personality traits, or it might be just one personality trait. Ideals, what they strive for, bonds, flaws, sometimes secrets. You need to have these things here. Now, we've already covered motivations, so I'm not going to mention that again. Now, the D&D Speak website, which is not related to Wizards of the Coast, but the D&D Speak website has a bunch of random tables for selecting and generating up to 100 different personality traits, villainous character traits, NPC jobs, and other aspects. Completely free. I highly recommend going and checking it out sometime. The Spontaneous Dungeon Master's Companion on the DM's Guild website has a bunch of resources too that you could use. The Game Master's Book of Random Encounters has a table on page 239 to 244. Again, it has secrets and obstacles that you can use and port over, but it gives you a lot of the different aspects that you need for an NPC. And also, again, the Game Master's Book of Non-Player Characters. Many random tables that cover all the things you might need. A very easy way to develop a non-player character aspect is by selecting a background from the Player's Handbook for Dungeons & Dragons 5e that will fit your NPC. This is one of my favorite ways of doing this. It's so simple, it's so quick, and it's one of those resources that unfortunately I believe will wind up disappearing in 2024. And if you do have a Player's Handbook for Dungeons & Dragons 5e and you think, okay, I don't want to have anything to do with 5 anymore, before you do that, before you get rid of it, I want you to consider keeping it, because there are a number of pages within there that you can use. Now, a lot of these backgrounds you'll probably be able to find on the internet anyway for free if you needed to. And look, you can randomly generate and select, like you can roll if you want, or you can just select what you want from the background, and you pick up your personality traits, your ideals, bonds, flaws from those tables. Now, I know it's designed and intended for player characters, but it's really good for NPCs, and I highly recommend using this method. It works so well. You can also roll between 1 and 6 Rory's Story Cubes to assist you in inspiring ideas for your non-player character, the different aspects of that character, with pictures on the cubes. And this is a method that is actually listed in the game of Rory's Story Cubes. You can get it digitally, or you can get the physical dice. I know there's a lot of knockoffs out there as well. And if you have a look at Sly Flourish actually brought it forward and presented it as a technique to be used many years ago, more than 10 years ago, I would say, as a technique you can use in your role-playing games for developing NPCs on the fly when you don't have time to get things done beforehand. Okay, now the last one is the Pathfinder Game Mastery Guide. Page 94 to 99 has a huge list of NPC rewards, things that NPCs might give out as rewards, their secrets, their occupations, personality characteristics, and backgrounds. All the sort of stuff that you might need is there. It's a very, very good book. We're not finished. We've done that, but we need to actually give our NPC or non-player character some dressing. Our non-player character needs an appearance. What do they look like? What a non-player character looks like can help define them at surface level, but it's not absolutely vital, but it's very useful. It will really give you the first presentation of what your NPC is like. If you don't have time to find a picture for your non-player character, then create one important physical characteristic that makes them stand out from all the other NPCs that you are running in your game. I'm not suggesting that you write down a huge laundry list of physical features and traits, okay, what they look like. You don't have to have a huge sentence or a couple of sentences, but write down one important physical feature about them. Why is that? Because that's probably the only thing the players will remember. There's only so much that people can store in their brain. Also, D&D Speak, the website, has a random table for selecting or generating up to 100 different physical traits for a non-player character. Completely free, this website. If you have access to the internet, you will find hundreds of non-player character portraits on Pinterest, DeviantArt, all those sorts of places. But it can be a trap. It's like a horrible trap sometimes, because you wind up wading through here looking desperately for the image that will fit what you're after, and it can suck away all of your time. So I don't recommend using that method. If you wind up with a whole lot of NPCs that you spot on Pinterest that you really like, and it's done really fast, that's great, but I've always found it to be a bit of a trap. Now, Pathfinder and similar role-playing games have decks of face cards that can also be used. They're very helpful. They eliminate you trawling through the internet. You can only really use what you have in the deck, okay, whatever size deck that is. And it's basically just a portrait of a non-player character, different ones that you can use. They, again, it will not be perfect because a lot of people try to build the NPC first and then find a picture to fit the NPC. And what you need to do is you need to do it in reverse. You do not start by building the NPC. If you want a picture from the internet or from a face card that's been printed, start with the card or start with the image and build it based off the image that you see. That is the best way to deal with that. Otherwise, you will suck away all your time. Draw a picture of the non-player character might be an option if you feel confident in your drawing skills. If you don't, then don't do it. Also, artificial intelligence software like Midjourney and various other, Stable Diffusion, things like that, can create an NPC from just a few lines of text or description, but you do get some strange results. It's not always going to be very good because you'll have maybe an extra eye in the wrong place, or maybe a couple of extra fingers and maybe an arm sticking out in a really obscure and maybe strange or obscene way. So yeah, you can use that. But there's another way. If you really must have an image and you want to build it from scratch, I'm going to recommend something like Hero Forge, the miniatures customization website. It's a good place. You can build the NPC pretty much the way you want. You can color it, and then you can do a screen capture of the image, and you now have an image of that new NPC. Now, it will look very digital. It will look clean lined. It's not going to be like a piece of art. But if that's what you want, there is a way of doing that. And much to my surprise, it's been very effective. It's still a time-consuming process. Building a customized NPC, okay, using a miniatures tool on Hero Forge is a time sink. It's going to take you a little bit of time. Okay, we've got that. Next, non-player character stat blocks. This is the maths behind your character, should you need to use them in combat. Now, most of the time, you'll never need anything. There's nothing quick about building a non-player character stat block for combat. So I don't suggest that you bother, generally. That would be my advice to you. But I know that's not a solution, so let me give you some solutions. Almost all role-playing games have creatures or monster books with a generic stat block for commoners and combat NPCs. So I would suggest use them first. Now, I use the commoner quite often. A commoner really isn't a combat NPC anyway, they really have no chance against a player character, no matter what system you're playing. So often I don't even think you even need that. But if you really need to have some numbers in front of you, that's a good way of doing it. The Pathfinder's NPC Codex is full of pre-made non-player character stat blocks. It has the information on the NPC and it has the maths behind it. Now, if you look at D-Hole's House, or D-Hole's House, so that's D-H-O-L-E, S House website, has a huge library full of free Call of Cthulhu non-player characters. So if you're playing Call of Cthulhu, you can actually get yourself a nice big library of NPCs if you really wanted to. The Donjon website has a non-player character generator that also creates stat blocks for different game systems, not just 5e. There are different systems that it can build them for. So if you want to do that, you can. And yes, there is some artificial intelligence websites out there that allow you to build stat blocks for certain game systems, but you can be sure that there will be some errors along the way. Okay, next. The Monster Manual for Dungeons & Dragons 5e has a bunch of general combatant stat blocks for NPCs in the back that you can, including the commoner. Okay, I would suggest things like the D&D 5e sidekicks, medium complexity, quite useful. You'll find that you can find that actually probably for free under the Unearthed Arcana publication that wasn't complete, but it's also in the D&D Essentials kit, and it's also in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything if you have those resources on you. If you don't, you can find it for free. It just won't be the final version, and it won't be complete. If you don't want complexity in a stat block for your character, that's wonderful. But if you do, you can use RPG Tinker, which is designed to build a stat block for D&D 5e. Now, I wish I could point you in the direction of other resources that would allow you to make an NPC for a different game system, but I'm still struggling to find that many. Right now, I would say, there's just so many people playing 5e and all the resources seem to be going into that. Okay. You actually have now all the tools that you need, but every time I run this program, I like to give out some miscellaneous recommendations, and that is what I'm going to do today. My miscellaneous recommendations for you are this. A combination of all the methods and techniques that I've just talked about can help when you're struggling to make your non-player character. So use all of the techniques, not just one. If you don't get to use your non-player character, then save it for another time. It's fine. If they never go to the place where that NPC is going to be, that's all right. You will use it another time. Everything that doesn't get used is an opportunity to be used at a later date. It's possible the players will have their character kill your NPCs after you've spent a lot of time working on them, and you'll feel like your investment in time has been lost. But I would like to point out that quite often when players do this, when they do kill an NPC that you've intending to be more of a dialogue character in your adventure, that it's all right, because usually they'll kill it before you have a chance to actually introduce it properly. So you can actually repurpose it and use it later on. If they get to know the character and then they kill it later on, that's a bit different. But quite often when players engage in that kind of activity, which is legit to a certain degree, they're allowed to do what they want to do with that character to a certain degree, but it's not like we do anything we like. It's a fantasy game about trying new things and seeing what will work and what won't work. But yeah, you'll find that you can probably repurpose, even if it's not for the group you're currently running a game for. You can use it in a different group later on, maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, who knows. So that's my miscellaneous recommendations. And don't beat yourself up and feel like your NPCs aren't very good, because it's just not true. Often the creation of an NPC is not nearly as important as the delivery to the players and how you interact with their character. I'm hoping this was useful to you, and if it was, fantastic. I want to thank my patrons who support me every week so I can run this program. This program is actually on Patreon. You can download it if you want to as a patron, and all the other resources that are there. I want to thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully you've got something from it. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Hello, how is everybody? Let's get into chat. We got through that. We're going to be doing some tool building today. What have I got here? I've got something going on here. They've gone and decided to stick an ad right smack where I don't want it to have an ad. Oh, okay, and I can't get rid of it, apparently. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Okay, let's go through chat very quickly, and then we're going to get on to actually building some stuff. Okay, to the top. How's it going, Shiner81? How are you? Fred Hubber, a patron. Thank you for being here, Fred. Derp, also a patron. Thank you for being here. Okay. Hello, people. You're excited for this one. Derp, was it useful to you? I would like to point out that if you do a search on Patreon, you'll find the written document for this, by the way, with the links for all the stuff that you might need to access too. I don't think my NPCs are boring, but they are not usually interesting either. Just me. Yeah, and this is the problem where a lot of us sort of assume that an NPC is only interesting by building an interesting NPC rather than the way that we present the NPC. I've always been surprised. Players attach themselves to the most unlikely characters sometimes. Characters that you weren't expecting to be a major player in your adventure become a major player in the adventure because the players, for whatever reason, decide they like it. And it's not often something that you can control completely. But yeah, your interaction and actually getting that NPC to interact with somebody in the party who latches onto them, that's what your key focus is going to have to be. What do you got here, Fred? So tavern owner tabaxi, all mugs and goblets in the establishment are made of metal. The tavern owner can't resist knocking unattended drinks off the bar. Okay, all right. Hello, Charles. Charles is also a patron. Hello, how are you doing? Between the Pathfinder deck of endless NPCs and the D&D DMG and a Google sheet, I put together. I can push a button and get a NPC. Oh, stop me from panicking when a player's... Yeah. So there are tricks to doing this. So if you build the resources that you need so you can make up an NPC quickly, that will eliminate a lot of your hassles later on, for sure. Yeah, describing... Look, if you can just... I would say that's probably about right. So describe your NPC in 3 words or less. If you can do that, you're doing it right. Feed into Google Translate and pick a language. Yeah, fair enough. Overboard is also a patron. How's it going? And also moderator. Hello. Mid-Journey will give what I consider adequate results if you're willing to mess around a few times. And yeah, Mid-Journey and other out of AI. I mean, it's not. I'm not going to say it's for publishing a product, but just for your home game, it's more than adequate. Quite often. It's what I usually use. Do a combination. Yeah, you could do a combination. If I use random generators, you are the DM. Okay, you can disbelieve the results. Yeah, so random generators are nice. I actually just prefer the list. I like to pick off the list rather than roll randomly quite often. Hi, Steve. How are you? Lexington, Kentucky, USA. Well, welcome. What do you got here? You started reading out our chat here. Yes. Okay, good to know. Yes, it does. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We're going to start doing some work, okay? I've got to the end of the chat, and I'm going to pull up a piece that we've been working on for a little while. We haven't kind of finished it, which is not surprising. Quite often this happens, is they take a little while to get to a point that they are finished. But let me just grab it here. So we were working on a 100 list of non-player character villainous motivations. Instead of it just being motivations for an NPC in general, it was I think people really wanted something that was 100 villainous motivations. So we started that process. So I'm pulling that up now. We've already done one for monsters, which is a bit more primal. We may be able to port some of the stuff over from the monster one into the NPC villain one, because that might be a little bit different. But I'm going to share this with you in a second, and then we're going to get started and start working through that. And I'll get my phone up going so that we can make that work properly. And the idea is I will make it available on Patreon when it's finished. And for those of you who are not on Patreon, you can just copy it down, I guess. Type it into your own Google Doc or whatever the heck it is, or word processor. Okay, all right, so this is what we have. Now, to give you an idea of how much there is, starting at number 1, we got as far as number 49. So not too bad. We got a fair distance through it, but we didn't finish it. Okay, and it's not in alphabetical order, for those of you who are wondering. No, it's not in alphabetical order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my phone, and we're going to see if we can't finish this. Well, there's another 50 to go. Oh, what do we got here? Build blinders of NPCs, and eventually they might, binders of NPCs. They might get used. Yeah, that's very true. I'm not of the opinion that building binders of NPCs is such a great idea. I do like the idea of building tools that allow you to build an NPC very quickly, though. Thank you, Fred. Always enjoyed your live feeds. My NPCs are built from the lore. I don't need a detailed history, but they should have beliefs, motives, and a personality. Yep, absolutely. I want to take over the world. Megalomaniac villain. We may already have something like that there, but I will have a look. A distinctive smell for the NPC can be nice. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's type in this hashtag. Is my phone going to let me do this? Or is it just going to freeze on me? Oh, try it again. Okay, so I can't type into the phone. Well, that's really useful. Let me jump back to my face for a second, and I'll type into the keyboard instead. Hashtag. What are some villain motivations we can add to the list of 100? So what we need is a tag name, tag name and description. Okay. Old derp has already started. I do apologize, people. I don't know why I can't type into my phone. It's just decided to go. So we'll deal with that very quickly by just ignoring it. Okay, there we go. Actually, I won't better put the glasses on if I'm typing out from somebody else's ideas. Oh, how's it going? JJ Payton 88. Hello, how are you? I don't know, Steve. Do I? Do I have one? I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, let's get on to the job of doing this. Our first one is actually Megalomaniac, and I think we have something that's really around that already, but we'll have a look. Ambition, Megalomaniac. Well, let's just type it in, and when I order it, then I'll see if we have anything that sort of is the same, because there might be a few. Vengeful. Meglo. Meg. Maniac. Okay. Right. So. take over the world. Twirl mustache. Opportunist. Okay, all right. I think maybe I'm going to just cycle through this very quickly and read them out. So right now, if we so I know this is going to wind up causing problems if we don't. Keep typing your stuff in. Keep coming up with your ideas. But here's what we've got so far. Ambition. The villain wants to be promoted to a position of power that they desire. Sea King. The villain seeks to become the pirate king of all seas and oceans. Reanimator. The villain is creating an army of undead through necromancy. Heretical Purge. A villain who destroys a specific religion. Annihilator. The villain is destroying a nation, region, or the world. Okay. Magnus. Destroy the existence of magic. I've got a question mark because I don't know what to call it. Drain the blood of children to make a potion of everlasting life. That is the motivation. We just don't have a tag name. For those of you who are wondering what's the deal with that, the tag name is just to make it easier to work out if we've already done something already. Okay. Next, cannibalistic. Eat all the members of a specific species or race. Eradicate all the homeless. So there's no tag name for that. Okay, crime lord. Establish a crime syndicate, mafia, or operate an underground guild. Frankenstein, the villain experimenting on animals and humanoids to create the perfect being, but breaches moral codes. Framed an important political advisor or as incompetent. We haven't actually come up with a tag for that. Force others to suffer as they have. So we haven't got a tag name for that. Hellbender, the villain is forcing the world into hell. Kill the king, queen, or military leader. We don't have a tag name for that one. Grifter, the villain lives off the kingdom or nation that at its expense. Usurper, overthrow the government with a coalition, corporation, or business company. Oust a guild master so they are promoted into the role. I feel like there's a few here that are very similar in nature. We don't have a tag name for that. Interrogator, operate a torture chamber for profit while remaining anonymous. Conquer, the villain wants to rule or dominate the world. So we've already got conquer. Okay. So that's probably the one I just wrote down. It's kind of had to go. Seek to control all the magic in the world. So we don't have a tag name for that. Artifact collector, seek a magical legendary item. Arms dealer, the villain sells weapons of war for profit. Embezzler, stealing from the kingdom or nation's coffers for personal gain. I feel like we've kind of got something like that very similar already. Steals from the rich to give to the poor. It's sort of like Robin Hood. We don't have a tag name for it though. We could probably just call it Robin Hood. I don't want to call it Robin Hood though. This is a real thing that if you work with people who come out of the criminal system, they believe they're Robin Hood. They steal from other people and give to the poor, and the poor is them. It's a very messed up way of thinking. Okay, horrific research summons demons, devils, and eldritch horrors into the world to research. Okay, there we go. Ascension. I think it is, yes. The villain is trying to transform into a god or higher power. Twisted Transformer. The villain seeks to transform the world into a twisted nightmare. Blood Bonded, trying to prevent the death of a family member or loved one. Mind Shackler, turn everyone into a slave through mind control. A wager to corrupt holy or good people. We don't have a tag name for that one. Okay, next. Drug Baron, the villain wants to get everyone addicted to a type of drug. Reconstructor, the villain seeks to break down organic entities and reform them in order to create a new forms of life. I kind of feel like that's kind of similar to something else. Cloner, the villain is replicating the population and makes monstrosities. Slaver, the villain seeks to capture other beings and use them as slave labor. I think we have something very... Mind Shackler. No, it's yeah, okay, so it's not quite the same. Inquisitor, the villain seeks to uncover plots against the order they serve and see those responsible destroyed. Okay. Caffeine coverter, the villain seeks to consume all caffeine in the world. I thought it was bizarre, but I wrote it down. Wisher, the villain seeks to sacrifice something significant in order to gain wishes. All right, that's the wisher. Collector, the villain wants to mate pairs of every species by trapping them in cages. Gosh, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 sort of made me think very much about that's that one. Betrayer, the villain seeks revenge against former allies because of a grievance. Spellweaver, unleash ancient magic lost through time to dominate the current world. Reverse, the villain seeks to reverse the laws of nature. Sacrificing fanatic, the villain seeks to sacrifice others to the monsters or gods it serves. Parasitologist, oh good lord, parasitologist. The villain seeks to infect a population with parasites in order to better study them. Yeah, I think that's them, not then. Them. Okay. Mad Hatter, the villain wants to possess all hats in the world. Okay, that's a joke on my part. Somebody's that's because I wear the hat. Mimic Merchant, the villain seeks mimics disguised as objects to unsuspecting buyers. Well done. Sell them to somebody, then reclaims them when the buyers go missing. All right. Tax collector, who steals and collects the money and collects repeatedly so they can turn in the correct amount. Okay, so tax collecting gone wrong, I guess. It's a little bit wonky. Candyman literally turns victims into all-day suckers. I think that's suckers or candy. I think that's what it's supposed to say there. Okay, it's a strange one. Bloodlust. The monster needs blood to sustain itself. So basically a vampire. So megalomaniac. We've kind of got conqueror. I don't think we'll need megalomaniac. Although what I might do is I might just put a question mark beside it for now, and just make sure it's sort of okay. Refine the name. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my face so that I can cut and paste all this information you're putting into here much faster than I'm doing right now. Okay. But I'll be able to just move through the document a lot quicker, get it done much more efficiently. So I've given you a lot of information. Okay. Okay, so what do we got here? So I said hi to Steve is here. Oh, Big Kid. Hello, Big Kid. Big Kid is a patron and also a moderator. Thank you for being here. And I can't scroll down, so my phone is useless to me. Okay. Bye-bye, phone. Clearly not helping me in the slightest today. All right, so I can't track chat that way. So we will do this the other way. I will do it with my face. My face. You have to put up with my face, people. And I will transfer everything over by hand. Apparently that's how it's going to work. If I can figure out where I put my glasses. I had glasses. Oh, there they are. I can't see my glasses without my glasses, apparently. Okay, let's go here. No, yes, okay, good. What about an NPC in the world who is basically a guy who goes around bullying, buying up dead adventurers gear and an estate sales? And dear, nice. What would you call that, Steve, though? That's the question. What would you call that? Charles, I'm just grabbing this one now. And I'm not going to alphabetize anything because I don't have time by the looks. So, okay. Medusa Marketer. Kidnaps people to turn to stone via a Medusa to sell to the high-end clientele, wanting lifelike statues. Sick. Let's keep it. Let's keep that. That's pretty sick. Like it. I like it, Charles. Let's keep that one. Nice. Nice job. Well done. Yeah. Keep it coming. I'll put them all down, people. I will. I'll put them all down. Pyromaniac. Derp. What do you got here? Pyromaniac. Ah, wants to burn the world. Yeah, I don't think we got a pyromaniac one yet, do we? Pyromaniac wants to burn everything or start the world on fire. Or set. Let's put set the world. Or set the world on fire. I think that's probably the what we want to put in there. That got it. Sweet. Could be a serial killer with a side hustle. Side hustlers for us. Right, so what did Steve have here? Can I even... There's some weird thing going on here with whatever Steve's written in here. There's some text that's gone over the top. Scroll up, scroll down. Ugh. Okay, let's go here. Let's try and cut and paste this in here. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not sure what to call it, frankly. I don't know what you would call that at all. We'll just go there. Buying up dead adventurers' gear in estate sales. Only he's the only killing them. Let's just do that. I don't know what we'll call it, but I've kind of boiled it down to a smaller idea. Okay, right. I'm not changing the numbers. I'm just going to plug everything in and I'll reorganize it later. So I'm not changing the numbers. Okay, not changing. Okay, refine the name. Yep, resource monopolizer. Corners the market on a resource. Okay, got it. Fred, got that. It's going in. Paste. Resource in the world. All right. Okay. Capitalism is a victim strikes again. Okay, right. What about a resource baron who wants to corner the market? We have that. It's done. Steve, Fred has put it in. I've taken you that idea. It's been... Oh, right. Number 26, Oculate Summoner. You reckon? Number 26 should be Oculate Summoner. Number 26. I'm sorry I can't show you everything. It's just not working. Oh, I see. You think horror research is not the way to go. You want Oculate Summoner. Yeah, maybe. Somebody's happy. Alright, you got here, big kid. Tabelli, Rassi, restart society by wiping this one out. God, really? That is nice. Let's copy that out and chuck that into our list. And it's mostly written out for me, so I don't have to do very much work. I don't know what that is. I don't even understand what that's supposed to mean. Okay, next. Steve. A device or instrument which allows the films for search. I'm not sure what that was, but okay. Reawaken ancient 5 power of the dungeon. I'm not sure what to do with that tag name. Want to live forever. Okay. For the blood child thing. Okay, alright. Too long. Regenocide. Number 15. Okay, let's have a look at number 15. Derp's got regenocide. Number 15, regenocidal. Okay, alright, so 15. What does 15 look like? Number 15. Oh, I see. Okay, alright. I'm going to put a question mark beside it because I'm not really sure. Is there such a thing? Is that actually a thing? Okay, number 7. Okay, number 7. You've got here, Fred. This I don't even. What is that word? I'm not even sure what that word is. It's completely beyond me. But we will plug it in and come back to it. Culinary, what's the take on the gods being... It's wrestling. Okay. Culinary, right. Culinary conquesto. Good Lord. Talk about some mouthfuls. I'm getting it down, people. Don't worry. It's going in. I'll be spending plenty of time figuring out what to do with it all, and eventually conquering an area to protect the last area that their favourite ingredient is grown lives. Culinary conquistador. Wow, opportunist. All right, Pale Rider, what do you got here? Let's grab Mr. Pale Rider's idea and chuck that in. And the opportunist, we'll just call it the opportunist. I think that doesn't have to have the. We can get rid of the. Opportunist, if given the opportunity, they will take advantage of any situation for their benefit. Well, yes, okay. I can't dispute that one. We're going to keep with that. Vengeful, to punish the world for perceived. Yes, vengeful. Let's go there. That's not a bad one, Fred. Let's get that in there, shall we? Vengeful. There's got to be some sort of revenge going on. Here too. Okay. Fence. Okay, it's in. Next. Alright, so if I go scrolling down here, we should be able to start looking at some of the new ones that you've got. I've got a bunch of stuff I can add in here too, people. The evil sales yard person. Side hustlers. Side hustle for us. Keep it shorter. I took the idea from Steve and changed the name slightly, but you're working from the newest to the oldest. Yeah, I have been. I've been going the other way. Blood drainer. Right. What world? What's suicidal fear? Okay. All right. So now that we've got that to that point, you guys seem to have run out of ideas. We're going to port over some stuff that we can kind of reuse and shuffle a few things around. I think that's probably the smartest way. Hashtag, do you have any more ideas? Otherwise, I will continue doing something else. Oh, pretender. Let's just go pretender. Oh god, you guys, you're not finished. I thought you guys had finished. I thought you were done. Pale Rider, what do you got here? Pretender. An evil higher power that presents themselves as a god entity, twisting people's beliefs against goodly gods and other worshippers. That's kind of like Star Trek 5, where you have an evil alien entity apparently who convinces I think it's Spock's brother that they are helping out God, but it's actually trying to get off the planet that it's stuck on. And it needs a starship for that. So, are you using ChatGPT? Because it sounds very much like that. Or is that just your really clever imagination going on there? Okay. Oh, okay. So I thought for a second there I was about to start plugging stuff in myself, but I won't be doing that anytime soon. I'm still keeping up with you. Velo. What does that mean? I don't know. What is velo? A cleric. A cleric who's working to hide all knowledge of an ancient calamity and will go to no end to kill to hide that knowledge. Okay. That kind of sounds like Inferno with Tom Hanks. Is it called Inferno or is it called Demons and Devils? I can't remember. Kind of sounds a bit like that. Who's? Okay, right. We'll just get rid of that. It was okay. So that's a little bit better. Yeah, Steve. Steve. I didn't know you guys were still at it. Obscures. All right, obscures. Okay, so that's what it means. Aha. Why would God need a starship? If anybody remembers that old movie, yeah. Apparently, God needs a starship. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But this God does. Lunatic librarians. Conquering the land to gain all written knowledge and preserve all scrolls and books. Dear. I don't know where that idea came from. I'm just trying to think about. No, I've got no idea. I mean, I read it. I've read a few books in my time, and I've watched way too many movies. But yeah. If you think we're ever done, forget it. Right? Okay. Ludette. Derp's got Ludette wants to destroy technology. Okay. Why not? The Veil. Oh, the Veilor. All right, Veil. We could just call it Veil and be done with it, Steve. You do realise that. We could do that. It would be fine. Your Tom Hanks movie? I thought you had. So it's at least it's not ChatGPT. So for those of you who were saying, oh, Fred, why don't you recommend or suggest using ChatGPT? And the reason why I don't recommend using ChatGPT is because really all it does is scrub the internet and come up with stuff for you by plagiarizing. Now, it's fine if you're just using that stuff in your own games at home, but if you're ever thinking of writing, I would never encourage you to use ChatGPT because it just takes ideas from somewhere else. Now, all ideas are going to be modified or used, everything gets recycled. But the problem is that unless you use ChatGPT with two other artificial intelligence software packages, one to deal with the poor grammar and one to make sure it's not plagiarizing, it's a bad idea. I'm not a huge fan of ChatGPT because I don't really think we need it. Ludit wants to destroy technology. So we've got that one there. I'm not sure why we would use that word, but we'll get there eventually. Okay. All right. Do we have any other things that I need to plug in here? I might start organizing some of this stuff into alphabetical order. Those things that I can. That's just to help me find everything. Because I've got plenty of stuff I can chuck in here. It's just not in the order, so I can determine whether I'm repeating myself or not. And I don't want to do that if I can help it. Annihilator. Let's take this one here. Cut that. I'll keep checking the chat to see if you guys have got any more ideas. So my suggestion, if you're going to come up with ideas, aim for like movies or TV series that you've watched recently, where there's been a villain, they've been up to something. It's probably one of the easiest ways to get this done. Hashtag. Do you have any more ideas? And I'll plug that in. That's my marker, so I can come back to this. So do you have trouble making non-player characters interesting? No. 41% said no. 29% said yes. Interesting. Not sure. 29%. just watching. For those of you who are kind of wondering, I'm going to go and share my screen again so I can move things around. Because if I spot stuff popping up and it looks like there's more stuff coming through, then I'll come back to this. But I think I'm going to move stuff around, just start ordering it before I start plopping things in again. Otherwise it's going to be a little bit tricky. Is it going to do this? Okay, good. No, it's not updating. Why is it not updating? My phone is behind, apparently. No, it's not updating. Okay, all right. Let me just share this, and then we'll come back to chat. A's. A, B, A, artifact, collector. Let's go there. Cut. Art. Should probably be about there, shouldn't it? Maybe even here. Paste. M, N. Cut. M, N. It goes M, N, doesn't it? Paste. And then we go assertion. It's S. Cut. Paste. A. We've got a C here. And cut, paste. Okay. D, A, C, Conqueror. Cut. And drop it in. Paste. And Crime Lord. Grab this. And cut, paste, Conqueror, R. Paste. Grifter, outer, no. Arms dealer, grab the arms dealer. Arms dealer. Should go up about there. Cloner, we'll put it under C. Don't have that many B's, apparently. So cut, cloner, clone, CL, A should be right there, in the middle. Cloner, paste. No, oh, blood bonded, let's grab blood bonded. Cut. Blood bonded is going to be right under here, and paste. Drug Baron, we can grab you, and cut and paste. D for Drug Baron. Paste. Okay, good. Caffeine collector. Oh, B, there's a B there. Let's grab the B. Betrayer, cut. B. Paste, yep, betrayer, collector. C for collect. Coal. Should be right about here. Okay. All right. How are we doing? Quick look at chat, since my phone is not doing what it's not updating at all. My phone seems to be completely useless to me. Good night. I'll see you later. How is your... It's actually quite good, actually. My day's been going quite well. So, yeah. And it's going to get better, I have no doubt. Okay, so let's just keep going. Oh, okay. Charles has got another one here. Where did you go? I was about to just whip away, but Charles has got another one, so I'll grab you. Grandiose... Okay, let's grab this. And paste. Grandiose glutton travels the land, conquers them, then tries every type of dish in the area before setting sights on new land. That's a really odd one, Charles, but okay. There we go. It's in. It's down. It had to happen, right? Environmentalist. Okay, high wizardry. Wants to control access to magic. Redefine description and tag. I think we have one already. We have one that's just like that. Environmentalist wants to stop all progress in industry. Let's go there. E. Let's put that in here. Environmentalist. Okay, environmentalists. Environmentalist. Let's just go environmentalist. Total list. Wants to stop all progress in industry and save the planet. We're making this a villain. Is this a villainous thing? Is this where? I know you're having a good laugh. Shamelessly stolen from the 97th step by Steve Perry. Oh, was it? Sounds like the glutton and the Monty Python meaning of life. Okay. I don't. Oh yeah, maybe I don't. You're quite right. I probably don't have. It's called Magnus. No, it's called something else, isn't it? I'm just looking through here. Yeah, seek to control. High wizard. Yeah, I found it, Fred. You're right. It's done. Fixed it up. Embezzler. Okay, so no. Cut. Embezzler. Alright, so I'm going to share the document again since we're now back to where we were, I believe. Taken too far, tree huggers are shorter than... Okay, alright. Sweet, I get it. I understand. I know where you're going with this. Let me share the document. Okay. For those of you who are like, oh, but hang on, Fred. If you spend all your time putting everything into order, you won't have time to actually come up with new ideas. Can I just point out that many of our 100 monster motivations would be perfectly adequate as a villain motivation as well. And as you can see, we made 100 monster motivations. I'm not really worried about villain motivations. I'm just letting the guys chuck stuff in there and plunking it down and then putting it into order, because we got it under control. She's really a done deal. It's just about organizing things now. An evil enchanter who is really. Oh dear. Oh man. Okay, all right, let me just shuffle things around a little bit. Caffeine converter, which is the strangest thing under the sun, but caffeine goes where? Calf. I'm going to start a cafe anytime soon. There it goes there. There we go. And culinary conqueror. Culinary something. Culinary cull. Where are you? Culinary cull. Cull. You. There it is. That's where it needs to be. All right. Took me a little while. My brain is not working super fast right now. Okay. Oops, there's a B. Bloodlust. Ooh. And Candyman. Love that. Candyman. Bloodlust. Bloodlust. Got to have a villain who likes blood bond, bloodlust. So bloodlust would be after blood bond, would it not? It would. It would. It goes there. So next, Candyman. We can grab that. Cut. Things are progressing fairly quickly now. Oh, I should be taking a break too. Candy. Key can. D. Cafe can. Candy. I think it should be going right about there. Paste. Candyman. Bam. All right. Sweet. Okay. All right. So I will take a break. I'm just going to catch up with chat to see if I've missed anything that people have been chucking in here. So we've got Steve's idea. We'll grab it and plug that in, and it's the divider. D for divider. Divider. What have you got here, Steve? Divider. An evil enchanter who is using an enchanted bell to divide the townspeople against themselves. Wow. Okay. All right. It's very specific. Why townsfolk? To term an enchanted bell to divide people. Divide. It's just divide people against themselves. Something like that. Okay. I've got that in. It's done. Sweet. But someone who comes from a far land to an area already settled and claims they are discovering it and entitled to rule colonialism. I think Charles. I think colonialism is what you. I think what you're talking about is colonialism. Colonial. I believe this is the term that you're wanting to use. There's a bit of that, eh? The British had a good old time with that, so the French, the Spanish, so just about everybody under the sun. Okay. Well, actually trying to... Yeah, no, I do, Fred. I'm happy for you to think of new ones that aren't on the monster list. It's cool. But it's a backup. It's a backup. She's colonizer. Yeah, colonizer, colonialism, colonizer. Just make a puddle and get a mop. Oh, the grey man. Ian Ink. I've got you, grey man. I should go pee. I know, I need to go pee. I'm trying. I am. Grey man. G. You guys are going to keep pumping this in and I'm going to wind up having an accident. That won't be funny. There's a color blind and now okay. Villain is colorblind and now seeks to eliminate all color. It's a weird idea, but I'm putting it down. Next. Just make puddle and get a mop. Inspired by the Pink Floyd album. Oh, Division Bell, is it? Germany and Japan wanted to colonize their neighbors. Yes, they did. Exactly. The Japanese are very much about that sort of thing. And Japanese have been doing it for years. Okay, so I will definitely take a break, but I'm going to put in a marker here. Okay. Hashtag flood me with villain motivations. There you go. Go to town. I dare you. I'm going to go take a quick toilet break and I'll be back. All right. 5 minutes or less. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right. I'm back. So, first off, I don't cosplay world leaders or the leaders of other countries. Okay? And there's no way I'm getting involved in a discussion around Biden at all. So, yeah, I'm in New Zealand. You guys deal with your own stuff. Thank you very much. I've got enough of my own stuff to deal with in my own government. I don't need anybody else's. Okay, here we go. Before World War One, he would drive other off the land than have land that's considered normal. Mankind has a greedy streak. Yes, we're at sanitarium engineer. I'm lost. You've got me completely confused. Does not believe in a god or gods. What everyone to not believe in gods. Oh, I see. Okay, wants everybody not to believe in gods. So you're saying there are gods, but they want them to not believe in gods. I think that's what you're trying to say there. Want them not to believe in gods. Jeez, okay. Wants everyone to not believe in God or gods. Okay, all right. So I got it. It's down. The we're at was once the streets were kind of jumpy conform to the sewers and is poison the water system. I am a little lost. Motivation. Misunderstood a prophecy about a chosen one. Started away several decades earlier and now has to continue to fulfill the prophecy. Motivation. Oh, I see. I see what you're trying to do here, Charles. I'm going to have to dissect that a little bit. There's a bit of dissecting required there. Paste. Misunderstood. Let's just call it misunderstood. Okay. Misunderstood prophecy here. Let's go here. And villain is confused about a chosen one. And prophecy. I guess that's what we're dealing with there. And prophecy. Yeah, okay, alright. Started a war several. Probably. Okay, so da. They saw the future and know that they have to do this. Okay, alright, so I see where you're going with this. AL, I see. Alright, so I don't know what you would call it, but it's basically Thanos, isn't it? Which you're suggesting. Thanos. I see in the future. I'm trying to avoid a worse future. Okay, so villain has seen the future and is trying to counteract an even worse future. Of course, we all know that that's not going to work. Okay. All right. So next. Not believing in gods is a militant atheist. Militant atheist. Atheist. Militant atheist. Is it? Is that what it is? I'll be having to do a bit of research on that one. I've never heard of that before. I got it down there, Fred. I'll do a bit of checking, eh? Do a bit of checking. Okay. Wanting to have everyone not believe in the gods is called a form of atheism. Yeah, okay. Let's call it the Thanos syndrome. Yeah, I don't think we can call it the Thanos syndrome, but I get what you're saying. Fire giant wanting to make all possible eruptions happen and turn the primal material plane into a planet of fire. Interesting. Okay, all right. Let's grab that. Okay, so we're going to go here. Villain. Turning primal material plane. Let's just go turning material plane into a world of fire. Something like that. I think we've got it. Where rat sanitation engineer, formerly a street sweeper. Okay, all right, I see what you're trying to do here. All right, Steve, let's see if I can make this work. Okay, all right. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, you've gone with the militant atheist. Okay, all right, I get it. Let's plug this where rat idea in. A former street sweeper. Okay, let's keep it simple. Saboteur. I think that's going to be good. So I'm trying not to be too specific. I'm trying to make these relatively general because the idea is you kind of can use them more than once. What about the Twister? An evil air elemental who's determined to destroy a major city. He starts on a path of destruction, leveling a strip of town until he can get to the city. Okay, I see what you're going with this. Oh gosh, Steve, are we talking about High Plain Drifter and Clint Eastwood? I feel like we are. What about a malevolent ghost red? Okay, all right. Let's a malevolent ghost. I don't know what you'd call that, but I can't call it Eastwood as a tag name. Or the man with no name. It's the man with no name. The penguin from the Batman. Yeah, yeah. I got the impression. And call him Vengeance. A vigilante that took their job too far, fights injustice with little much motivation from. Oh, this is Batman. You've just given me Batman. Batman. A vigilante that took the job too far. Let's just trim out this. That fights. Okay. If anything, I'm a little unsure about that one. I feel like we're there's a bit of tongue-in-cheek going on here right now, I can see. That's right. The man with no name has no name. Ta-da! Okay, all right. Our poll is changing as people jump in and out. I'm going to share the document and start moving things around while you come up with your ideas. Okay, so hashtag villain motivation. motivations, tag name and description. Don't be too specific, people, otherwise it actually becomes not very useful. Okay. We want it to be something you can reuse. So now that we've got all that, Fred will go back and start trawling through all of this, trying to reorganize it so that at some point it's a finished product, or at least a finished draft. There is so much going on here. Embezzler, drug. Okay, so D for drug dealer, drug baron. We've got drug baron. Cut. D. The divider. Why don't I don't want the divider? Just the divider. Okay. And then paste. And embezzler. Grossy. It's a grey one. And okay. Heretical purge. A B C D E F G H. Heretical purge should be here. Cut. Paste. There we go. Frankenstein. Okay, cut. Starts with F. Frank. Where are you going, Frank? You're going here. Right in there, like so. Frankenstein. No, we're not worrying about that right now. Hellbender. That's H. That's G. Hellbender. I think it's actually supposed to be here, isn't it? Hellbender. There we go. Hellbender. Grifter. We'll grab Grifter. It's Grifter as in G. Grifter. G. Grifter. Assassin will kill anyone for money. There we go. It's pretty simple. That's a good idea. Let's stick that in. I'll come back to it in a sec. Have I got time? Yeah, still got plenty of time. Okay. Wish, reverse, stow, pretender, lunacy, misunderstood prophecy. Don't get too excited. Don't see the word 90 and think, oh, we've only got 10 left. It's not quite like that. Okay? We're actually a little bit further off than that. These two here start with L. H, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, L. And actually, it probably needs to be just reversed. And put here. Okay, cool. And reanimator. Cut, paste. Okay, all right. C, genocide, cut. Reggie, where are you, Reg? You're gonna go here, Reg, my friend. There we go, right there. Mangus is an M. A Mangus something. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I really have no idea. Mangus. See, there's a few ideas down there. Am I desperately needing to? No, probably not just yet. Mangus. We'll drop these in a second. Horrific researcher, oculate. Okay, there's a couple of things going on here. Twister, high wizard, H. We'll probably grab the H and the I. Interrogator is probably a good one too. H. And we get the Inquisitor. Where are you? Big space, big space. Cut. And stick that there. Okay. C, done that. D, don't know what that's supposed to mean. It's not an actual word as far as I can tell. D, Des. Where's Des going? Des is going right about there, I guess. That's that. Okay, all right. So, switching back over and dropping stuff in from the chat. Let's have a look and see what we've got. My phone is kind of keeping up, but not really. It's a little bit lagging. The internet connection here is actually very good. This is why I'm able to live stream in 4K, but Wi-Fi is still suffering quite a bit actually. Retribution. Someone killed an evil sorcerer's pet wyvern, and now he's exacting retribution. Very specific. What happened to not being too specific? Ret. R-E-T. Ret. It's going to go right in here. Okay, paste. It's John Wick. Oh, Charles. Oh, I see. The pet wyvern is not a pet wyvern. It's a dog, isn't it? It's a dog. You killed my dog. You must die. That's what it is. It's John Wick. I got suckered. Well done, Charles. Pet. Yeah, pet. Yeah. Dog. That's what it is. Someone killed villain's pet. Ah, dear. Yeah, John Wick is not a nice guy. And now he's enacting retribution upon anyone who even remotely involved. It's John Wick. Boy. Okay. Right, assassin. Let's grab Pale Rider's assassin and put assassin in the A section. Ass. There was the word ass supposed to go. Right about here. Assassin. Assy my assassins. There we go. Right there. Assassin. Villain. Getting one for money. Nice and simple. Nothing complicated about that. There's an old black and white Batman movie about 20 minutes long. Not same author, but probably they got the idea for the comic. Oh, right, okay. There are a lot of blanks, yes. There are a lot of blanks. Serial killer. So what have you got here? You've got something going on here. Serial killer. That's very, very complicated. I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to put it right at the end. Paste. Okay, serial killer takes people out in a pattern that they like. The house they target are in the pattern from the top and view the pattern. I think we're just serial killer is probably good enough. And a pattern. I get it. Serial killer is on the list. Okay, right, next. Let's grab this. E. Do I have an E? Yes, there's an E here. E. Eddie is a monster. Paste it in here. Is that a real word? Wants to purify the species by eliminating imperfection. Ah. Okay, so I've got that one. Curseful filler, belonging that I'll force into what? To punish beings that defy a cursed location. I think we're going to call it something else, but curse be here. Believe, curse enforcer. And so what are we doing here? We're going beings that are forced to punish beings that defile a cursed location. So let's see, forces. Punishes. Let's just go punishes. It's probably easier to go punishes. Villain punishes. Beings that defile a cursed location or item. There we go. Punishes. Got it. Oh lordy. Bloody maiden. Brothel owner recently turned into a vampire. I think we have something. I think we have something that is around that. We have blood. I'm pretty sure we have bloodlust or bloodline, and that's going to fulfill that quite nicely. I think that's the yeah. So we'll leave that. Should be it should be E. Right. Okay. All right. So now I see. D E E E E. There it is. Okay. So let's just drop that in and see what happens. Okay. Well, Google prefers that word, so we'll cut that, put it in the right place. EX and paste. Okay, all right, got it. Sweet, done. You can call me Alien Inc. Al is what friends call me, and Ian. Well, I guess. Okay, all right. Sounds like. Well, I was just going to go with Ale. I'll refine from. I'll try not to go with Al or Ellie if I can. Do you already have a pet tyrant, someone who conquers increasing specific laws? All right. Yes. Well, you know, the puppet master might be an unofficial. Really, mafia boss. Vampires are their own motivation. Exactly. They do their own thing. So how are we doing? I think we're doing reasonably well. I will still jump back and show you what I've been doing, so you can see. Where are we now? We're something like this. This is what we have at this present time. It's a bit jumbled, people. It's a bit jumbled. It needs a bit of organisation. There are some big, huge holes. But, you know, I figured if I pushed enough holes in there and looked like, oh, there's 100, you guys wouldn't slow down. No, that's not what I was trying to do. That wasn't my intention at all. Saboteur. Why is that? Sanitary saboteur. There's always somebody who wants to get the water system poisoned, isn't there? Sanitary. Yes. Here, sanitary. Paste. No. Let's grab this one. Cut. Chuck. Paste. Horror research. We'll just grab that there. Cut. Cannibal. Look, I can pull cannibal from this one over here. Okay, I'm sure we have cannibal over here somewhere. Cannibal. We probably don't have a cannibal. Or maybe we don't have a cannibal. Oh, all right. Okay. Here we go. Someone's going to bring cannibal along. Paste. Oh, I was supposed to move that, wasn't I? Got distracted. Oops. Horror. Horror. What else we got? Twisted transformer, mind shackler, twisted. Gotta go over here. Chuck that in there. Paste. And mind shackler. There we go. M for mind. M right here. This is where it wants to be. Mind shackler, paste. Okay. A lot of tagging of stuff. That's all right. It's fine. Reconstructor R. Cut. Reconstructor R. Recon. Reanimator recon instructor. Okay. The Wisher. Spellweaver. Okay, Wisher. Cut. Wisher was going to go right about here. I think that's right. And Spellweaver. Alright, Spellweaver. Cut. Spell. Should be sitting here, shouldn't it? Spellweaver. Paste. Spellweaver. Slaver. Oh, I didn't move the instigator. Inquisitor. I thought I had. Slaver. L in here. Paste. And Inquisitor. Reverse. Sacrifice. Okay. Cut. Okay. Interrogator. Inquisitor. Alright. Inquisitor. Paste. And where else are we going to go here? We're going to get this reverse. Cut R for reverse. Reverse. Punctuation. Yes, I know, I'm aware. Oh, there's so many more here that I need to sort of sort through as well. How am I doing for time? I'm very much out of time. Okay, so I just need to make sure I collect up anything that you guys have chucked in recently, and then I've got to get going and go to work. I'm shift coordinator, so that's going to be one of those days. Okay, let's have a look. Lurker waits to pounce on errors of other. Okay, see you later, Steve. Fred, always a pleasure taking part in these live streams. I'm glad you were able to hang out. Now that you've probably already gone and haven't heard me say any of that. Trickster wants to cause chaos. Trickster. Okay, let's grab Trickster. And that'll be the last one for today. Yeah, tagging should be last. So once I've got it all in order, then we'll worry about that sort of thing. There really isn't not much point otherwise. Yeah. I get Trickster. Trickster. Paste. And the villain just wants to cause chaos. Yeah, so I will reorganize a lot of this so that it's sort of where it is, so it's a bit easier to work with, and then it'll be a lot of doing tags basically. But there, we did a lot in a very small space of time. This is really what I've got. It's there. I'll take out a few spaces. In no way is it finished, and there are a few things I want to check, but uh, 100 is a lot. Okay, undo. And then we've got a big space there, and then there's a whole bunch that we need to rearrange into there. Okay, but actually it's really not that far off being done. I mean, it may happen next time we roll around to doing something like this, which just be good. Anyway, I've got to get going and get on with my day. I'm going to finish up this poll. Oh dear. You're having way too much fun. You're not allowed to have so much fun. In any case, we're done for today. We will be back tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? I'm talking about a monster. A monster you've probably never heard of before. Unless you've been exposed to Esper the Bard. Maybe you will know it then. In any case, hey, huge thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you for taking part in the poll, listening, watching, providing your ideas. I want to thank my patrons who support this so that this keeps happening every single week. It's been a great time, and of course everything we make here winds up on Patreon eventually when it's done. And this will also wind up there. I mean, Monster Motivations is already on Patreon. The Villain Motivations table will get there eventually once it's finished as well. So yes, hey, huge thank you to everybody who took part. I won't list off all your names because there's so many of you, and I am late. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.